Welcome to Stories of Resilience presented by Ortho Carolina. I am here with Mike Rucker and Dr. Pat Connor to talk about Mike's story of resilience. And I want to go back to the 2006 season, your ACL tear, and as tough as that was at that time, the ultimate comeback story and like what you were able to overcome to get back out there with the help of Dr. Connor. And I very much appreciate both of you taking the time to talk through it today.
I just remember it was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when you play sports, you're going to have injuries. And I've had my fair share of injuries and surgeries. But this day was, I just remember the formation. There was some wideouts that were really close to me, so I was wanting to be cautious of them coming down on a crackback block. And I remember Chris Jenkins on my inside. And I remember him getting pushed a little bit, and as I went upfield, we clicked heels. And I just remember like this adage, like you just hear like this little pop. And that's one of the things that I felt was like this little pop. There wasn't really any pain, but I heard a little pop. And I remember falling down to the ground. I remember laying on my back. It was a sunny day, and I just said, please, Lord, no. Please, Lord, no. Don't let this be what people talk about. And it didn't hurt.
When we went out there, I could see concern on his face. He had a combination injury of the ACL and the MCL. I kind of took a little jog of that MCL, and I could tell his MCL was injured. There was no question about that. So I knew he wasn't coming back to play that game based on that MCL. I remember telling him I was worried about the ACL. I knew the MCL was torn. I was worried about the ACL. I knew the ACL was torn as well, but I didn't want to tell Mike at the time. But we got the MRI the next day, and it confirmed it. But yeah, I remember it vividly.
And Mike, what's it like getting that news when Dr. Connor has to deliver both of those assessments about the MCL and then later about the ACL?
What was particular to me was I was already thinking about retirement. My goal was, like my body was telling me, hey, this is starting to get tough. And so coming out of that year, I was already thinking about retiring. And so that's what made it so rough for me that when Doc gave me that news that it was the ACL, it was the MCL, that I knew that time frame. I wasn't a spring chicken. So I knew that there was going to be some tough decisions to make. I had one more year on my contract. I'm thinking about retirement. So a lot of emotion just came out really quick all at once. And, my teammates are still out there playing, and here I'm getting this news, and I'm on this table, and, you're just emotionally a wreck. And it was just a tough decision. I knew Doc, they've seen a lot of these. I knew I was in good hands, but it was tough to process that.
How long did it take you to go from just feeling emotionally drained and stunned and sad to then getting in the mindset of, okay, it's time for the surgery, it's time for the rehab, I'm going to focus on getting back out on the field?
It was about 48 hours that, then that competitiveness came out. And then it was inside that I knew, like, all right, one way or another, whether I play again or not, I got to take care of this knee, right? I still got a long life to live. I got to make sure that this knee is strong and it's done right. And so mentally that competitor kicked in. And now it was me in the rehab. It was me in the knee. And it was me in the timetable. And that's what got me going. And then once I had the reassurance from the team, was like, look, we're gonna let you do this. We're gonna let you play this out. We're gonna let you go out the way that you want. That gave me that extra boost to then really kick it in.
What was the surgery that you two settled on? And what was the timeline for recovery? And then I would love to talk to Mike about, because you exceeded that timeline. You came back way quicker than was the norm at that time.
So the surgery we did, I used my hamstring from my right leg, and the injury was on my left knee. And so that meant that I was going to be kind of hobbling because both legs would be down. And so happened, my wife, we had our third child in November. So just a couple weeks before this happened. So here we are, she's taking a real estate class. We've got a newborn. I'm in bed, both legs high up in the air. And it was, let me put it this way, it was chaos around the household for a while. But as Doc said, that was the technique that we used, and it really helped me get back on the field quicker for my body type. But there was definitely some challenges on the field, but also in the household too.
Do you remember the moment where you knew that you would be able to get back out on the football field, or had you had that mindset from the moment you decided to get surgery?
You know, when you're listening to this, you know, our conversation, and this is to athletes, this is to, you know, grandma, grandpa, mom, and dad, or whoever has injuries, period. The same things we're talking about is that mindset, the team effort can help you in any of these surgeries or rehab things that you're dealing with on a daily basis. And so that's why I really loved, you know, this concept of having this conversation, because you can apply it in different areas of your life. Whether it's, you know, going to work, or if it's strictly, hey, physically I need rehab or I need surgery.
Do you remember that first day of training camp where you stepped on the field ready to go?
Yeah. So then my mindset changes, right? So now I'm back, right? Here I am at training camp. But I know that the job isn't given to me. I still got to go out there and perform. I still got to go out there and earn it. Mm-hmm. So now this next big step, like the journey's not over. Now I've got to trust this. I got to trust the process, right? So everything we've done to pass the physicals, or to get the check marks, to get on the field, now I still got to go out there and go against Jordan Gross on one-on-ones. I still got to go out there and drop in coverage and make these tackles. So I got to perform. And so now it's trusting the knee.
And Mike, how did going through all of this, and like you said, it doesn't just end after the rehab is over. How did going through all this inform the way you looked at your final season? Were you able to appreciate every moment just a little bit more, considering all that you'd overcome?
I was truly blessed. A lot of guys don't have that opportunity to go out the way that I was able to go out. One of my goals was, you know, after that injury, I wanted to be able to walk off the field. I've been playing this game since I was 6 years old. I gave it everything I had. My body was telling me, hey, Ruck, it's time to start throttling back. And so for us to go through all of that, to get back on the field, to finish out that contract, to say that I played with one team, that was one of my goals, to say that I played with one NFL team my whole career. So 9 years, Carolina Panther at heart, that is a badge of honor for me. That was part of the game plan. And so to be able to do that the right way was a blessing. So I was truly blessed to be able to do that. So going into that year, I was kind of free, right? I wasn't uptight. I knew the knee was going to hold up. I was physically tired because of really hitting that rehab hard for that, you know, 9 months and 8 months before that. But I was able to perform. And at the end of the year, I was thankful. I was honored, and I was blessed with everybody that poured into me personally, because now that's helped my journey after football, knowing that I was able to accomplish those goals. And I left it all on the field, and I was able to walk off the field. That's a blessing.
I thank both of you so much for the time. It's been incredible for me to get to hear these stories, and for everyone who is watching this to get to hear these stories. And I got to imagine it's got to be neat to go back down memory lane and hear the impact that you have had, you know, along with the trainers and the rest of your staff on these incredible players. And for you and Mike to have that moment at the end is really just beautiful. And I thank you both for sharing these stories with me.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.